To create this Pictures to XC air display show, I'll be using two sets of photographs that I took last year at the Royal International Air Tattoo. Now I saved those pictures in two separate folders. You can see here we've got a folder, we're within Bridge now. So you can see we've got Bridge here, and this is a folder, and you can see pictures in there, and this is another folder. So the pictures that I want are spread across two folders of photographs. So there's various ways we can use Bridge to sort through our images so that we can narrow down just to the ones that we want for the show. And we can see if we just drag up here, the pictures are in a separate drive, which I call raw files. So these are purely raw files that I use. We will then so within here we need to sort out the ones that we actually want, and then we can go on to process them and send them to the relevant folders for our Pictures to XC show. So the first thing is to try and sort out the images from potentially thousands of images to just the ones we want for the show. And Bridge is quite a good place to do this. Lightroom is probably a better place to do it, but I've covered that in other tutorials. So we're going to use Bridge to manage this process. Now we can see here that we got one or two images with star ratings and color labels. Now star ratings and color labels can be used to sort through your images. So at the moment, if we look down here, we can see under filter we have labels. So at the moment we've got quite a lot of images. We've got 1,312 images within that folder. I'll just drag down there. So within that folder we've got 1,312 images. So that's a lot of images to sort through, and we need to sort out the ones that we want for the show, which we can really narrow down. Now, I've done that by applying color labels, a red label to the ones that I think would be fairly good for the show. I maybe won't use all of them, but at least I've narrowed it down somewhat, and these are the ones that I think would be most suitable. Once we've applied a color label, we can just select the labels, the red in this case, and it just narrows it down to just the ones that I've selected. I've got some yellow ones there. I'll just select the yellow ones, untick the red ones, and here we have 11 yellow ones, and so it just gives you the 11 yellow ones. So I'll be looking at the red ones there. How do we apply a color label? Well, all we need to do is select an image and press a keypad, the numeric keypad number, and I'm going to press the 6, and nothing happens. Why is that? Well, that is because if we go to Edit and we go to Preferences and Labels, it says you require the Control key to apply label ratings. So if you press Control and 6, you would then get the red label. I prefer to have that unticked. So all I have to do is press the number 6 key, which will give me a red label. Press the 7 key, a yellow label, 8 green, 9 blue. You can do a purple label, but there isn't a keypad number to press to do that. Okay, so I'm going to say OK. So just remember, pressing the number 6 key on the numeric keypad will give you a red label. And then once we've applied red labels, we can sort them by just selecting the red labels. So say we want that one there. And you can see we've got an enlarged view here. Now normally I'd select them using the loop view, but unfortunately this I'm using a small area of my 4K monitor, and if I go to Control L, you're just seeing a small portion of the screen. So I'll just escape out of that. So we'll just use this little area here, but say normally I'd go to full screen and then just press the numeric keypad if I wanted that particular photograph with a label on it. So let's have a look at that one there. That's probably a slightly better one. Press the number 6 and we get a red label attached. Okay, we can go through one or two of the others. Okay, press the 6. If you change your mind, just press the 6 again. and it's a toggle. There are other ways of sorting, and if you look down here we've got ratings, so we could actually sort through star ratings. And if I select that image, press the number 1 key, we get a 1 star. We can actually just click in here and 2 star, 3 star, or press the 4 number on the keypad and we get 4 stars, 5 stars, pressing the 5 key. If you want to get rid of all the star rating, just press the 0 key on the numeric keyboard. Okay, so once you've been through your images, applying, in my case I tend to use coloured labels, but you could use star ratings, whatever you prefer. We can then say just select those labels, and those are all the ones that I've selected for the show in that folder. And we can do the same thing for that folder. Okay, and just press the red label there, and there they all are. Okay, now in more recent editions of Bridge we have a thing called collections. Now in Lightroom, collections are, well, that's what I mainly use Lightroom for collections, and collections enable you to build collections of images that are scattered. The images are scattered through different drives, different folders and subfolders, and if you add one of these images to a collection, it doesn't actually move the image, but it creates a link to that image no matter where it is scattered on your computer. And by looking at that collection, Lightroom, or in this case Bridge, will allow you to view all of those images scattered across different folders. So that's what we'll do here. I'll create a collection for this air display. What I want to do is just enable, we can see that if we click on collections, it's just a tab for this window here. So I'll separate that collection out. I'm just going to drag it until we get a little blue line at the bottom, and it's a little bit tricky. There it is. Okay, so we've now got collections, and we can still see our filters at the top there. Okay, so if we look down here, we've got new collection. We've also got here new smart collection. Now smart collection is, you specify specific criteria and it will automatically populate the collection. But this time I just want to create a collection, and we're going to call that air display. Okay, and with this sort of collection you've got to populate it yourself, and at the moment it's shown there's nothing in this collection and there's no items displayed here. So we need to go back to our folder. There we go, Fairford Air Display. Select all the red ones, all the red labeled images. I'm just going to select one of them, Control A to select them all, and then just drag them, click and drag into the air display collection. You can see we've got 159. It hasn't moved the images. All it's done is add them to this like visible link to those. I can now go to the other folder with them all in, select the red label ones only, click once, Control A, drag them into air display, and you'll see that 159 go up to 322. And just by selecting that, we can now view all of those images which are effectively across two folders. So we're looking at just the red ones in that one and that folder there, which is quite convenient because now we can maybe select one, select the last one, and then open them up into Camera Raw, process the images. Once we've processed them, we can maybe select the next 10 or however how many they are there, set of images, process them, and that's how I go through it. Let's just have a quick look at the metadata on this side here. you can see that that particular image, this is the metadata for that image. Okay, it's the information about that photograph. And if we look down here, we can see the file size, the pixel dimensions, the bit depth, 16 bits per channel. Color mode is red, green, and blue, and the color profile is untagged. It doesn't have a color profile, sRGB, Adobe 1998, or ProPhoto RGB attached to it. You only get a color profile once you've sent the image to Camera Raw, Adobe Camera Raw. So Control R opens up Adobe Camera Raw. Just drag that into our little window here, and you can see at the bottom here, this is the workflow options. So at the moment we're still using a raw file here. When we send it to Photoshop, it is no longer a raw file, and these workflow options are how you tell Camera Raw the attributes that you want applied to that image. So it's best to go for sRGB, 8 bits per channel, because it's going to be saved as a JPEG image. So once you click OK, you can process your image. You can see that this has already been processed. There's lots of adjustments being made. But when I go to open the image there, those attributes will be applied to that image. Okay, I'll just say done on that and go back to Bridge. You don't have to use collections, of course. You can just use star ratings or color rate. Let's just go back to, we're looking at the display collections here. If I go back to a folder here, we'd bring back our filter labels and things. So there we go. You could just process those, process those, process those, go to another folder with your red star ratings and process those and process those. Okay, and we'll be getting on to actions and other ways of and preset ways of speeding up the processing of all these images. But Bridge is the first port of call for organizing and bringing together all the images that you're going to be needing for your show.